And welcome back to Late Night Lately. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the late night show for the website, cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. Hey, I have some jokes for you. Let's get into them. Okay, hold on. I have to figure this out. President Donald Trump referred to Fox News as too politically incorrect when host Peter Doocy interviewed Democratic Senator Mark Kelly about the ongoing government shutdown. If this is any indication about where we currently are in the plot of the movie, the good guys and the bad guys have to come together to take down the bigger bad guy, and that's just like classic comic book plot right there, anime. Like, who wouldn't want to see Goku and the Z Fighters get the help of Frieza fight in the Universal Tournament? And you say I've lost you? That makes sense. The ongoing government shutdown is starting to take its toll on airports as delays happen across the country to air traffic controllers and other employees. Air traffic controllers and other employees are taking advantage of sick leave in order not to show up for work, and it's the same tactic that I used for my first three children. New York attorney Letitia James has been indicted by the Trump administration for alleged real estate fraud involving less than $19,000 in her second home in Virginia and of saving a couple thousand on a home in the 38th highest ranking state in the country for infrastructure can count as breaking the law. Then Trump's really going to disapprove of one of his 4 indictments. Republican Speaker of the House Mike Johnson was lambasted by a Republican voter, mother of 3, and military wife live on C-SPAN, and judging by his face, he got off to it. The right-wing political organization founded by Charlie Kirk, Turning Point USA, announced counter-programming to the Super Bowl halftime show. Artists will include the Broadway cast of Six singing Don't Lose Your Head, 3 6 Mafia doing Chicken Head, Tears for Fears doing Head Over Heels, 9 Inch Nails performing Head Like a Hole, Faye Webster playing Side of My Neck, and AC/DC playing Up to My Neck and You. The Nobel Peace Prize was awarded to an exiled pro-democracy Venezuelan opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, and, oh, just what we need, a Spanish lady taking something that a fat white man thought he deserved. Dinner at home tonight is going to be super tense. And finally, Costco is offering half-price Wegovy and Ozempic, and if you think about it, it's the perfect place to buy those. Hopefully, it's placed in the same aisle as the 4-gallon tub of mayonnaise. That's all the jokes I have for you. I hope you enjoyed them. It's tough when you have a lot of... I'm doing the monologue jokes, and I'm going through the jokes, and I'm trying not to spoil the headlines of the next joke. It's wild. All right, here we are. I just closed down every single one of my tabs for some reason. Welcome back. This is late night. This is late night lately. It was a good week for late night, and unfortunately, what's his face? Colbert was not able to join. He was on a hiatus, and I believe the NBC shows will be going on hiatus. So next week, so we'll have that. Maybe I won't even do a show next week. Probably won't. I probably won't. This week, we had NBC, I would say, had probably the best week of shows. It felt like a sweeps week of sorts. We'll start with Fallon, of course, obviously. Also, I'm just noticing that they released a video with all of the one battle after another interviews that they did, including Chase Infinity and Sean Penn. And that was, again, I if you haven't listened to Constitutional's podcast, I had nothing but praise for that movie. It's a movie. I've never seen a Paul Thomas Anderson movie because he doesn't put people of color in his movies. And yes, Luis Guzman is one, and Maya Rudolph is the second one. But one's his wife, and the other one I don't see has played giant roles in those movies. Anyway, I loved it. Jimmy Fallon had Taylor Swift on for an extended period of time. So extended, in fact, that NBC will be playing her, I guess, an episode, a makeshift episode with, extended bits today, this Friday, tonight, October 10th. at 10 p.m. He already, if you look at the YouTube of Jim, if you look at the Timmy Fallon. Timmy Fallon is when the Fairly Odd Parents do a little a send up of Jimmy Fallon. Anyway, if you look at his videos, you'll see that there's 3 separate Taylor Swift videos, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, and then another 20-minute one. I wonder what could they add to this, because it's already 50 minutes, already over the length, including the monologue, which was already shortened for Taylor Swift, and including the cold open. It's already over the length of a regular episode. But anyway, it was a good interview. What sucks is, because she was also on Late Night with Seth Meyers, is that the audience was clearly just there for Taylor Swift. And it happens with every big star. If there's a Billie Eilish thing, then they're going to be there for Billie Eilish. If it's when Justin Bieber hosted SNL the twice times he did, that's what they were there for. Yeah, so that's what happens. Anyway, he also had Jennifer Lopez and the cast of the K-pop Demon Hunters. They showed up doing on-couch interview, which is great, and it was their first real performance of Golden, of a song from the movie. On SNL. They popped up and did a cameo last week with the Bad Bunny season 51 premiere, but I don't think that really counts. So it was good to see them just be on the couch and talk about this success. Now, it's very interesting. All 3 of these women have been acting and or singing, and this movie just catapulted them, which is amazing. So I enjoyed it. It was a great conversation. Jimmy is the person who I would want to do this talk. I know people want to say like he's not good at what he does, but this is the guy I want to do the K-pop Demon Hunters one, because of all the hosts on late night, I guarantee he would be the one to watch the movie and at least know what to talk about. Versus, can you imagine Colbert trying to do this? He would just be so off brand. They also had Jared Leto on, which, that's that. Paige DeSorbo, Haley Williams performed a song from her new record. Channing Tatum and Greta Lee, who is, we love Greta Lee in this house. Queens of Stone Age performed, and I don't know who these people are. Boone Hogg and Logan Juggler, and I wish them the best. Moving on to Late Night with Seth Meyers. He had his shot at Taylor Swift later this week, and they did a little takeover episode as well, where he basically rushed through a closer look and his monologue just to get to his episode-long interview with Taylor Swift. And I like this about Taylor Swift. I like her music, but I like this about Taylor Swift. When she shows up to NBC, she does both shows, which is fascinating. I can't imagine. I don't know anyone else who did that for CBS. I don't know anyone else who spends a lot of time at Kimmel. It's just very nice to have not one but 2 late night outlets for one of the world's leading pop singers to appear on. Anyway, we also had Kirsten Dunst, Tony Shalhoub promoting his new CNN show, I guess. The CNN show I keep getting friggin' commercials for. Megan Maroney, who I know she is. I know her songs. I went to her Wikipedia, obviously because she's an attractive woman. I went to her Wikipedia and I just saw Morgan Wallen. And I went, no, thank you. Channing Tatum, Chef Jean-Georges Von Gretchen. Now let's just say that's right. Ryan Reynolds and Emilia Jones. Forgot about Ryan Reynolds. For good reason. How dare he and Blake attack Justin Baldoni? I'm kidding. Don't quote that. Kimmel had an excellent interview with Aziz Ansari, and I would say the last 5 minutes was excellent, and it's very interesting to watch. Kimmel actually ask a question that pretty much everybody had on their mind. Seth Rogen, I'll talk about that in a second. Seth Rogen popped up as well. Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats performed. Jeff Bridges brought out his dude character and also during an interview to talk about everybody coming together. I'll tell you this. I'll tell you right now, Jeff. You're out of touch. Justine Lupe came by and talked about Nobody Wants This. Let's see. Christian McBride performed. Jodie Turner-Smith, the wonderful, sat down to talk about Tron Ares. There's a lot of Disney stuff here, so that makes sense. Anthony Anderson came by, Caitlin Olsen, and Adam Pally. Okay, so the interview with Aziz Ansari he spoke about. I'll talk about this on the Constitutionals more freely, but the Raida Comedy Festival is a Saudi Arabia-based festival that was created by the Saudi prince. That's more important than what Aziz or Bill Burr or Dave Chappelle will say. Now, the problem is the money came from the Saudi prince. He funded this. Okay, Saudi prince killed Jamal on top a lot of things in recent years. Killed Jamal Khashoggi, had a public crucifixion, denounces women rights and all that stuff. There's so many things happening in Saudi Arabia, and these comedians are saying, Chappelle, Burr, Aziz, the rest of those comedians are all saying like they performed there for experiences, or in the case of Christian DeStefano, his wife, he didn't really want to do it. His wife was like, this is what he said. He said his wife said, "That's a lot of money. You better take it. So why would you throw your wife under the bus?" Anyway, and everybody has their own thing. And but they all basically said, "Hey, we're performing for these people. They're just like you. They want to enjoy comedy." But the thing is, the money is coming is quite literally blood money, and is coming from the wrong places. Now, if these people came together, if the citizens of Saudi Arabia came together to fund it, then it'd be a different story. But it's coming from somebody who is a horrible person. So anyway, Kimmel asked about that, and Aziz said he's going to donate his funds to a human rights campaign. The Human Rights Campaign did not want it. Reporters Without Borders. So that's the end of that. Last week tonight, John Oliver covered presidential libraries, and I probably should switch these around. But along with Jon Stewart hosting this week, who he spoke to Tristan Harris, Josh Johnson came back, I believe, during his birthday week, and he hosted, and he spoke to Wawa Guthrie. Let's see, Anthony Ramos. Ronnie Chang did a piece about adults going to Chuck E. Cheese. There's another Emmy Award-winning Fox-splained video. I think Seth should have won the Emmy. Anyway, Grace Kludenschmidt did a tech story, and then there was also a conversation with Hunter Prosper. All right, let's get into the regular, the main topic for tonight. And again, I will talk about the Raida Comedy Festival on the Constitutionals. That'll come out today as well. This comes from New York Magazine, and it's written by Callum Marsh. Late night TV is fading. There's one part you may come to miss. Okay, so we know that there's been a shift of late night shows where, we're probably in the last stages of late night. Seth and Fallon and Kimmel and Colbert, definitely. We know for 100% Colbert. Those shows are probably coming to an end with those hosts. I will be very surprised if any of those shows continue. If when Jimmy Kimmel retires in a couple of years, if ABC says, "Yeah, let's bring on Anthony Anderson or whomever," then that will catch me off guard and completely. And there's no way that even after Paramount Skydance closes, The Daily Show continues to exist. I'm very surprised that that's still happening. I don't want any of these shows to be canceled, but that's what happens. Even if I watch or don't watch all the time, or if I don't like a host. How would HBO continue with Last Week Tonight? Would they continue with Real Time with Bill Maher? I'm not saying that there's money to be I'm not saying that there's money to be had with these shows. so angry. I'm not saying there's money to be had with these shows, but there's definitely something that podcasts can't capture. There's definitely something that Last Week Tonight and The Daily Show and the monologues of each and every one of the other shows can do that a podcast can't. But whatever. Anyway, now this piece from Callum is very pointed, and it talks about what the host is and can do for late night. And this kind of goes in line with what I was talking about. He starts off with how Jay Leno basically always wanted to work. And that's true. That's like one of the things that he is known for, is that he was really good at just like type. All right, stop. He was good. I'm very sorry about that. An animal is eating something that they should not be eating. But he was very good at just tightening screws and just wanting to work all the time, for better or for worse. There's a quote that he references from Bill Carter's book, The War for Late Night. Some might call him a robot with no apparent inner life at all. Jay didn't care, nor did he even seem to disagree all that much. And that's something that we can go to these hosts of podcasts. We can go to these YouTube people, these quote unquote content creators, and we can say that they're multi hyphenates. They're hustling all the time and this and that. But what's really interesting, what's really fun, is how someone can be really good, like really, really good, like the best at one thing. And that's what a TV host of the past was. Johnny Carson. I was going to say Jimmy Carson. There's too many Jimmys. There's too many Jimmys. That's the title. I love it. Johnny Carson was, by all accounts, a host. There's when you look at Bob Barker, he was a host. When you look at there's like those don't really. I would say Fallon is a host. He couldn't act. His sketch comedy. He's a comedy person, but he is veered toward host. I'm trying not to be mean. Alex Trebek, that's who I was thinking of. Alex Trebek is a host, but now, let's broaden this scope. When you look at all of these game shows, they're getting people who have already made their careers. They're getting people who shouldn't be hosting shows to host shows. What isn't it? Who's hosting? Hollywood Squares is hosted by Nate Burleson and Drew Barrymore. Now, Nate, I would say, he left football and he went to Good Morning Football, and he was excellent on that show with Kay and Peter and Kyle, and he was excellent on that show. And then he moved over to CBS Mornings. So I would say he is technically a host. Drew Barrymore does host a show. He's analyst host, but Drew Barrymore does host a show. And, if they landed with him being the host of Hollywood Squares, it'd be fine. But to bring in another person, another A-list actor, and I will continue to say she is an A-list actor, then it kind of loses its luster. Who hosts? What is the show at Match Game? Now, Match Game was hosted by Alec Baldwin, and now it's hosted by Martin Short. And it is just kind of a shell of itself. Do these shows need to continue to exist? Yeah. But are these networks going to rely on people who are hosts? No, they're not going to. They're going to rely on somebody who is big and famous and willing to do this show for a penny. A pretty penny is what I would say. Marsh continues, a good host was hospitable and charismatic, but also faintly aloof and self-effacing, delivering jokes and banter without ever revealing much of an opinion beyond a general air of wry-winking judgment. As Leno understood it, audiences tuned in for his attitude, not his perspective. He didn't need an inner monologue, just an opening one. In the same way, I would say, Conan was the last of that style of host to basically go away. Craig Ferguson was also in that same vein where and I'm not saying that neither of them voiced their opinion. Well, we know Conan didn't voice his opinion. He with that interview with Bill Burr that happened this week. That'll be coming out next week. But the interview with Bill Burr about the Ride Comedy Festival, he definitely didn't voice his opinion. But it is fascinating that those are the hosts that I would say people enjoy the most. They're the ones that are the least oh God, what is it? Affecting? I don't know. I would say that they're like people love Conan because he was silly and it was fun, and Leno lasted for so long because I'm bringing Conan and Leno into the same perspective right now, but Leno lasted so long because we didn't know who he was. Now we know who he was, and now we're all like, hey, why don't you go drive your little jalopy off a cliff or something? And for Carson, he was just he did all of the he was really good at what he did. He was probably the best at what he did. But so it's fascinating to see how CBS doesn't want to bring back the Late Show, even with people basically calling out the network Paramount and Skydance for being despicable in that decision. Now, as Marsh points out, the primary functions of late night host have been redistributed to other media. If you want punchlines about the news, you scroll through X, which is very true. People thought, or Twitter, even a couple of years ago, that's what it was. People think that, everyone thinks that they're joke writers, including, regular people, regular viewers like you. No, thank you. If you want to hear an actor talk about his latest movie, listen to a podcast. Yes, unfortunately, shows like Smartless and the Kelsey Brothers Eat Tacos or some shit, those have become the popular ones. And even still, Conan Show is probably one of the biggest quote unquote comedy podcasts. And unfortunately, it's less an interview show and more a show I always have to turn down because the volume is so loud. I love Conan. I think I love TV Conan more than I want to hear about, spend an hour listening to an A-list or a B-list actor talk. If I want that, I will go to other shows. If you want comedy skits or stupid pet tricks, you can swipe through TikTok, which is very true. Again, but all of this culminates in something that's not particularly funny or the best. I'm not going to remember that tweet. I'm not going to remember that interview on that podcast. I'm not going to keep watching that same TikTok video over and over again. And even though it's not the best, these aren't the best replacements, these are the ones that we have. And I kind of miss not have. I miss what we used to have with late night shows before they came into the social age, and you had to watch shows live. It was kind of like a special thing that happened between the audience, the viewer, and the host, and everybody involved in that. Like that was kind of special because it's wonderful that you can watch most of Letterman's clips now on his YouTube channel, but seeing that stuff happen live was just beyond me. It was mind blowing. I remember an episode, one of the like full episodes of Letterman I watched. Because again, I love SNL. I love late night shows, but prior to DVR and social media, I never saw a full episode. I would always fall asleep in the middle of SNL. I would always fall asleep in the middle of Conan or whatever. Anyway, but I remember watching the Denzel Washington be the only guest when they had the hurricane in New York, and Letterman still put on a show. That's fascinating to see. It was like a pre-pandemic audience-less episode. But now everybody's shifting towards YouTube and or social media video, and not to take away from that, I miss those old times. But these videos, some of them stand out more so than others. Watching Jimmy Kimmel Live, again, I watch every late night show on YouTube TV, so I don't care about watching clips online, but it's great to have the clips accessible, especially when I want to refer to things. But, having Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend is at least something where you can have Conan weekly. I'm not doing the audience episodes, but you can at least have him weekly. And here's a suggestion. Conan's team at Team Coco, if you're watching, there's a Conan O'Brien YouTube channel where you post late night with Conan O'Brien clips. How about we just post all the late night with Conan O'Brien Tonight Show, the Conan TBS show clips on that Conan O'Brien YouTube channel that's still active. And the Team Coco channel can be all the podcast shit. And then I can unsubscribe from that and never see Team Coco ever again. If you're listening, that's what I want. Taylor Tomlinson still focuses, and that's why she left after midnight, but that she does stand up. Leno has his Jay Leno's Garage show, as well as his YouTube stuff. Letterman has his YouTube stuff. It's I assume when Colbert leaves, he'll do something. I don't know what he would do, but it'll be interesting to see. Maybe he'll do something a little more serious. But anyway, late nights changed, and people, it can't go back to what it was, and we're gonna miss the bands, we're gonna miss the performances, we're gonna miss the funny stories that have to be told in less than 6 minutes. It's a shame, but we'll have to pay attention and hopefully keep the late night style in some sort of fashion. I don't know how that'll continue to exist, because nobody's going to buy that, but whatever. All right, listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website cpluscomedy.com, where you can see everything that I've ever done. If you want to watch a video of this show, go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy. You will see a video version of the other podcasts, The Constitutionals, the Entertainment Business News podcast, as well as LinkedIn Logs, the Jobs podcast, and the video version of the interviews I do called The Interviews. Subscribe to those shows wherever you get your podcasts. Follow us on social media at cpluscomedy on TikTok, Instagram, and Blue Sky. Me, @ChatBlackWhite on those platforms. Thank you, sir, thank you for much for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye.